Gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Welcome to another edition of Real Family Talk. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Real Family Talk. This is your host, Jay Real. I hope everybody's having a great evening out there. It's Tuesday night. That means it's a wonderful night to be listening to the radio, of course. Real Family Talk is here, y'all. We're going to have a great show tonight. Let's go ahead and introduce the people that'll be hanging out with me this evening. It's a bunch of the regulars. I have Jeremy's in the building. How you doing, Jeremy?
I'm doing good. How's everybody doing out there?
Awesome. We have Miss Monica's in the building. How you doing, Miss Monica?
Doing great. How you doing, J Real?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good, Monica. And last but not least, we got Miss McCrae is here. How you doing, Miss McCrae?
I'm blessed. Good evening, everybody.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we're going to this evening. We're going to kind of give the show over to Miss Monica a little bit tonight in a moment. Miss Monica is going to bring a topic, and we're going to highlight all of those counseling skills that Miss Monica has. Remember, Miss Monica has a counseling business, y'all. She does need some clients, so
Yes,
she's always taking clients, right, Miss Monica?
I always need clients. So hopefully, after you listen to me, you'll send a few to me.
Exactly. We're gonna showcase those skills Miss Monica has this evening. But first, couple interesting stories I heard today. I'm gonna have the ladies break the stories down for me. First up, we're gonna have Miss Monica break that story down. Apparently, Mississippi has officially abolished slavery. Can you? Mississippi has officially abolished slavery. So tell me, how does this break down?
As I was reading, it seems as though there was a young man that was either involved in watching the movie Lincoln or was doing some research and found out that in the fine print, Mississippi had not officially abolished slavery, that there was an asterisk next to Mississippi stating that their official documents hadn't been received for abolishing slavery and accepting Amendment 13, I believe it is. And so he brought it to their attention. And so as of February 7th, 2013, Mississippi has officially abolished slavery.
Wow.
So
wow.
it's like things that you find out in the fine print. My goodness. Something else. So
all this time.
We may need to let some people know in Mississippi that slavery is over.
Slavery
Officially.
is over.
Officially, at least in that state. And for the rest of us, hundreds of years it has been over. But
Wow.
So something else, something interesting.
Well, they always said people from Mississippi were kind of slow. So.
Oh, wow. Really? You gonna do that?
I'm just saying.
That's rude.
You gonna do that? We apologize to anybody.
Yeah, anybody from
Anyone
Mississippi.
from
We got plenty of love
Mississippi.
for y'all. David Banner and all of y'all.
Wow.
No, but yeah, man. I mean, it is surprising that something like that happened, but it it goes to show you, man. There's a lot of little laws that rarely are ever used that are sitting out there waiting for someone to figure out that exists. You know, so there's some of those same kind of laws existed that sent kids to jail. Because a senior in high school just so happened to have sex with like a freshman in high school, these kind of things, little laws that are out there that are sending kids to jail, and you're just like, really, kids are going to jail for that? Like, if that was the case, everybody would have been in jail. But yeah, man, glad to see Mississippi has finally joined us in the rest of the world in 2013.
2013.
We's free.
Amazing.
We are finally free in
They're
Mississippi,
free.
officially.
The United States has finally abolished slavery throughout. Well, it makes me question, what else do we not know that, is
fine
going
print.
out? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The fine print that we have yet to discover.
Yes.
Well, it's a lot of laws, like as far as the interracial marriages that's still on the books in a lot of states that haven't officially been amended yet. So it's excuse me, it's a lot out there that hasn't been dealt with.
Definitely. Like I said, nobody deals with it until it's time.
Right.
So, but we'll see what happens, man. Shout out to Mississippi, man. 407-894-1680 is the number. 407-894-1680 is the number. One more story I want to shout out that's out there as well. It has to do with a nurse that got banned from a hospital, got banned from a particular suite in the hospital that she worked in due to a racist parent requesting that an African American not help his child. Tell me about that one, Ms. McCray.
The nurse Tanya Battle, a black neonatal nurse at Hurley Medical Center in Flint, Michigan. She's now suing the hospital because she was banned from caring for a baby at the father's request. The father, like you said, a neo-Nazi, told the supervisor, this nurse's supervisor, that he didn't want any African Americans caring for his baby. The baby had to be taken care of for 30 days while in the hospital, and during those 30 days, no black nurses were allowed to tend to this baby. And a note was pinned by the baby's room or the incubator or whatever that said no African Americans can be near this child. So now this nurse is suing the hospital because of discrimination.
Now, if I understand the story right, she didn't get fired, right?
She didn't get fired.
She didn't get fired, so she's still hired. They just basically requested that this particular baby not be worked on.
At all. By no black people.
By no black people. Okay. All right. 407-894-1680 is the number. Here's my question. Should she be suing if she still got a job? That's my question. That's the question I struggle with. If you still got a job, I understand that it is 2013 and people should be a lot more educated than to make a request such as you not working on their baby. But it is 2013 and there's a lot of race still out there. But should you be suing if you have a job just because this one particular baby you can't work on? That's the question that's the question I don't get. I get the whole, PC world. You should have told the doctor, the father, you can go out of here, you racist, and go to somebody else's hospital, blah, 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 blah. I hear all that. But should she be suing if she still has a job?
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. I'm not sure about a lawsuit. Like you said, it's wrong of that person, but I found an article that talks about it and is asking some really important questions. It's, we can choose if we want a male or a female doctor.
Right.
So then should someone be suing because I chose a female doctor as opposed to a male doctor?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hurtful. He's wrong, obviously. But like you said, she still has her job. She was not fired. They just could not take care of this baby.
Right. It was one baby out of the however many babies are in there that she wasn't supposed to take care of.
Right.
Is that discrimination? That's the question I have. 407-894-1680. Anybody else?
I think it's the fact that they supported, I don't know. I mean, I think in most cases, if they were to say something, like, oh, well, there was no reasoning behind it. And I think what she may be really hurt about is the fact that they supported his request instead of, saying, well, all of our employees are qualified and, we're not going to discriminate against that. I don't know. I don't know about the lawsuit. But I think that it's a little sketchy that your hospital would, instead of supporting its employees, just say, okay, fine, whatever, just bring your baby in because, it's the NICU and that's extra money. And
right. I can see that, too.
I see
Flint, Michigan.
We have a caller. How you doing tonight, caller? Hello?
Caller,
are you there? Okay.
All right.
Hello?
She hung up.
Oh, okay. Caller lost. Okay.
Call back, please.
This is in Flint, Michigan.
This is working class people in Flint, Michigan.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, that's my thing. I get that it's 2013 and in 2013 it's a little shady, quote unquote, to say to your employee, don't work on this baby, to put up the sign. But it is. We're only talking about one baby out of however many babies that there were. And it wasn't like we said, don't touch any other baby. It wasn't like we said we got to fire you because this man don't want you working in his baby. We just said, please don't work on this baby. To me, I almost like, well, you know what? Good. That's one less thing I got to do for that.
but I still feel that's discrimination.
Yeah.
I still feel that's discrimination. You're going to tell me because I'm black that I can't do something? That's discrimination. We marched too many years to be discriminated against at work.
Oh, my God.
That's what we was marching for. That's all I'm trying to say.
I mean,
but now should she be suing? I mean, if that's the extreme you want to take it to, I seen, Subway was getting sued because it wasn't a foot long. So people suing now, they trying to get paid. Eddie Murphy Raw that somebody eyes got sprained when he was in a fight and they sued him for $15 million. So people get sued. That's just what happens. It really was discrimination. I hope she win the case. I support her. Go, sister.
407-894-1680. Were you going to say something, German?
No, I was gonna say but I will say this. I do think it's funny. I do kind of think along more the lines of what you were saying. I mean, if y'all don't want to be caring for your baby, I mean that's your prerogative. That's your prerogative. It's not, to me, I wouldn't take it as that big of a deal. I mean, in this day and age, I don't know why we're shocked by anything like this. I mean, stuff runs deep.
Right.
Some racism runs deep in some people. Not to take too long, but somebody I know had a coworker there. They'll say they've been working at a job for a very long time, had been joking and kidding with their supervisor for a while. So they thought they were cool. The supervisor was white, they were black. And he had trained some people and they got promoted after about a month of being in for a job he applied for. And he pretty much thought he was a shoo-in for the job. I mean, he had been there 7 years. And he asked the guy what happened. He was like, well, I'm from a small town in Tennessee and I just can't get over the fact that you're black. After knowing you for 7 years, so like in this day and age, stuff doesn't, I would say it should not shock us that bad. I mean, to me, you take it and move on.
I think you do see a lot of discrimination in the workplace. Even at my job, I see a lot of women don't like other women, so they don't like to see the other women come up. And I think it's the same thing with race. People just really need to get over their pride. And I think, but at the same time, if that's how you want to raise your kids and you tell the hospital, I don't want this, or I'm going to just go to a hospital and I'm going to go to the second one and tell them, I don't want this, you have to respect that decision. But as the employee that, got discriminated against, you still you have your right to, feel the same way you want to feel. If I want to sue because I got mistreated, go ahead and sue. If I want to tell them I don't want black people working on my baby, tell them you don't want black people working on your baby. It's understandable, but you just got to understand both sides. And I feel like, she still has the right to feel discriminated against, and she feels that she want to sue. I support. If you feel like you don't want no black people working on your baby, go ahead. I support that too. But, it's nothing to judge and be like, well, they was wrong. If that's how you feel, everybody got an opinion. It's your life. Live your life. It's your opinion. But if you do somebody wrong and they feel discriminated in their opinion and they want to sue, respect that also.
I hear you. 407-894-1680. Like I said, I just think in this particular situation, while it is, it has to do with race, and race is always a touchy issue. Like Ms. McCray was saying, it's really no different than, you having a family come in and say, all my doctors, all my nurses or whatever, need to be female. And so maybe the top doctor at the hospital may be a man, but if they request a female and that's all that they, will allow you to, will allow to work on them, then you find a bunch of females basically, and that's who you send in there. And there's no difference, and so technically the male doctor did get discriminated against, but I guarantee you ain't finna go sue.
Society sets it up where things can happen to a man that cannot happen to a woman. That's how society set it up. You can be a man and, you can't do this and you can't do that, but a woman can go and do the same exact thing that you can't do, and it just look like, well, that's just how it is. So that's a bad synopsis. I'm sorry. Need to give a better one because that.
So when you go to the doctor, you don't care if it's a female doctor or a male
it depends.
Doctor who's doing your most intimate physical.
It depends. If it's if they put on the glove and they got to go search somewhere.
Right. Do you want a woman or a man?
I ain't trying to have no man
Well,
doing certain things to me. So I would
So-
prefer a woman. But if it's a man, it's kind of like, all right, cool. But if it's, I would prefer a woman just for, my own personal.
So when you go in and sign that piece of paper and they said this is the procedure that you're gonna have today,
Mhm.
would you want a female or a male doctor?
Most of the time I'm gonna say I want a female because I just don't want no man touching me. That's just me. I'm straight on that. That's like saying, you finna get Miss McCray, you're about to get a massage. Would you prefer a man or a woman?
Either.
Thank you. And that's the same way I feel.
Actually, probably a woman because the men kind of get too hard in the muscles and stuff. They're stronger hands. And I have a sensitive back.
I have sensitive hands. Yeah.
Okay, moving on. This is going left. Yeah.
Leave it to Mr. King
Micah, really?
to help it.
I get the blame for everything.
But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, 407-894-1680. I just think it's a touchy situation, and we'll see what happens with the case. The one thing I thought that the lawyer said when I heard her on the radio today, they didn't request any particular amount that they were actually suing for. They're just going to take it to trial, see if it wins, and then if it does win, they'll let the jury tell them what it is that she should ask for in compensation. So I thought that was kind of interesting because that could really go a lot of different ways, but we'll see what happens.
I think with that, they're just trying to prove a point. Don't be discriminating. We're not going to take it. We're going to stand up for what we believe is right, and I respect that 110%. Do your thing, sister.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and move into our talk tonight with Miss Monica. So, that situation has to do with communication. Definitely, which is what Miss Monica is going to talk to us about. She calls this segment Improving Our Communication Skills. Is that right, Miss Monica?
That's right. We'll talk a little bit about some things that maybe we just have to slow down and think about in order to improve our communication skills in relationships, not necessarily just only romantic relationships, but in relationships in general. As J. Real said, my name is Monica Clayton. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I own the Covenant Counseling Center, which I started about a little less than 5 years ago. And one of my goals was to help revolutionize couples in how we have somehow lost our way in relationships. As you all know, 1 and 2 is probably about the rough estimate of the percentage of marriages that end in divorce, and a lot of that has to do with communication. And so I just kind of thought of some things that I thought maybe some helpful tips for everybody in order to apply them to your relationships, to help people and help you be able to relate to each other better and communicate about particular things just a little bit better.
All right. What's the first topic of tonight? What are we going to talk about?
Well, one of the things I wanted to mention is I think oftentimes we have these expectations of how people should be communicating with us. And we have to realize that communication is a learned thing. It's not something that's embedded in our DNA. And people learn from different things. We either learned how to communicate with others in our schools. We learned from especially our parents and our families. And so whenever you are in a relationship with someone, you have to understand that they may not necessarily communicate the same way that you do. And so you have to be patient in that manner in order to be able to relate to them and understand how they communicate. A lot of times I'll see couples, they'll come to me and sometimes the female will say, well, Monica, he doesn't want to talk. I want to talk about my feelings. And, he just says, I'm doing good, I'm fine, or he doesn't have very much to say. And he'll say, well, Monica, I don't want to talk about that because I never really talked about my feelings to anybody. I just kept it to myself. It wasn't really something that my parents, practiced doing. So we can't always expect for people to be open to the way that we communicate because they may not have even learned how to communicate that way. So it's just something to think about. I know sometimes even how we share and how we're expecting someone to give communication can even be different. Sometimes we have people that we call the fixers. They hear a problem, they want to fix it. A lot of males want to, they hear something and somebody that they love is in a situation, has, shared something that maybe they're hurt. And they say, okay, what can I do? Let me give you some advice. Let me try and solve the problem. But maybe that person just wants for someone to hear them, someone to listen to them and take that time to listen to what they have to say. You have to understand that as well, and not just always expect to resolve problems. Find out what they're looking for, and then try to go forward from there.
Yeah, piggybacking on that, remember 407-894-1680 is the number. 407-894-1680 is the number. Give us a call. Let us know what you're thinking. But piggybacking on this idea of knowing how to communicate, I was listening to something and they talked about expectations. One of the things that I think is missing in a lot of relationships is you don't have that conversation so that everybody's on the same page to know exactly what you're expecting.
Exactly.
So whatever that is. So you're expecting to share feelings every night, or you're expecting, whatever. And this goes into, what you expect for finances, what you expect, as far as children and the discipline for the children, and that conversation I think is missing. In a lot of relationships, which it leads to that 50% or nearly 50% divorce rate, or failure in general of relationships. So I'm pretty sure that's a big thing, right?
Absolutely. Especially, I do a lot of premarital counseling as well, and that is one of the major things that we touch on, your marriage expectations and expectations in every area of your relationship. Because you have to realize you are two different people that have grown up in two different ways from two different families joining together as one. And even if you're just dating, you're still two different people that have lived in two different ways. And so you have to talk about those expectations from each other. And I often mention that most expectations are the other partner is either unaware or they're unspoken. They've never been spoken. And no one really understands. And a perfect example would be a newlywed couple that I had worked with. She had an expectation of how she wanted to be cared for whenever she got sick. She grew up with a family who babied her when she got sick. They brought her the pillows and they fluffed them every couple of minutes, and they brought her soup and they did all kinds of things for her. And she married a man who in their family, they gave them space and left them alone when they were sick and only came every now and then just to make sure they were doing okay. So she got the flu. And she came and she was so upset at the end. And she was like, Monica, he doesn't even know how to treat me. He doesn't care. I don't know what to do. I should have known this when I decided to marry him. He left me all in that room by myself and just came and turned on the television. And this is a mess. And so, as we began to talk and communicate, because oftentimes we had to get down to the bottom of, okay, well, what are you expecting from him? Because he's like, I did what I thought you needed. I don't really know what the problem is. And she's, like, oh, this is just terrible. This is not how I want my children to be raised, and, so on and so on. And so we finally got to the point where she was able to share, this is what I would like. This is how I would like to be cared for. And he's like, well, all you had to tell me was, baby, can you fluff my pillow? Can you go and do this? Can you do that for me? Can you get me some more, cough syrup? Or this is what I would like ahead of time, And of course, sometimes you don't get to those things until they happen, so you can't prepare for them. But, to communicate about those particular things ahead.
But I'll tell you what she could have did, though. As she sat in that bed and was getting angry because he didn't fluff the pillow, she could have easily said, hey, can you fluff my pillow?
Can you flush my pillow?
She could have.
Can you bring me some soup?
Right.
Say something.
Instead of sitting around being mad.
I know.
Right.
Sitting there just gathering up all this negative energy. Just ready to go off.
Because he didn't volunteer to fluff the pillow.
And the poor fellow was like, he was blindsided, like,
what's
I
going
don't
on?
understand.
Exactly. A lot of women think that men are psychics. They think we just supposed to
Mind
just
reading.
know what they think. Like, nah, I think a major part of communication is listening also.
Absolutely.
Like, you have to be a good listener, especially when you're with a woman. Because, as you say, majority of them, they're like, I feel this way and I feel this way. And all he says is this. He gives me the short answer, because a lot of men don't want to hear that. Like, you know, if your man is just giving you the short answer, that's a hint that you might be talking too much sometimes. And he don't want to hear you talking so much. So he gives you a short answer just so you won't talk. And that's just what really a lot of men do.
Well, let me correct you on that. What you should do,
What a man should do.
What the male should do is to say, maybe this is not a good time to talk about this. Let's talk about this at a different time. Because there are some times, like you come home from work, you've had a hard day, you know, your boss was on you all day, or you had a lot of, you know, situations happen. Maybe you just got pulled over on your way home, and you're just not in the mood to have a 50-minute conversation. You can say, baby, I really want to talk about this, but can we do this in about 30 minutes? Can you give me some time to talk about it? And it's okay to have a little time out. It's all right to do that. Just give them some appropriate time to, you know, give you some time to get it together so that you can give that undivided attention. Because what's going to happen is when she continuously sees that you're just giving the short answer, she's going to get frustrated. And in about 20 to 30 minutes, you're going to end up in an argument with her saying that you never listen to me, you don't care, I keep telling you all these things, and all you say is, yeah, baby, I understand. We have a caller.
Oh, okay. How you doing tonight, caller? How you doing,
fine,
Deborah?
and you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. What's your comment tonight?
Well, I just heard a gentleman make a comment that women think men are psychic. I don't think we think they're psychic, but I think that we feel that after so many years, especially like my situation, my daughter died 10 years ago. I don't feel that my husband has offered me the type of emotional support that I needed since she died. And I don't feel that he's psychic, but I feel as though he should know how to comfort me since we've been married for over 20 years.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I appreciate that comment, Deborah.
That. I think that is a common thing that people, maybe not the exact circumstance, and I am very sorry for your loss, but I think oftentimes even when you have been married for a very long time, we change. And in 20 years, your needs have changed, and maybe even his needs have changed. So it never hurts to really talk about those particular things. You know, just giving them a hint, baby, you know, right now, I'm really having a hard time. And maybe he's not thinking about your loss the same way that you're thinking about the loss. So sharing that with him and telling him what you need is the best way to get what you're looking for. Because expecting it, you may end up being disappointed if you don't share those things. And so I think a lot of people, we call it mind reading. You know, we just think that, oh, you know, they should just know. But oftentimes they don't know. And even how they have grown up, if they're not very affectionate people, they may not know exactly what to do. He may feel at a loss of how to comfort you. He may feel that this is, you know, a bad circumstance to be in, but I don't know what to do for her. So I'm not going to do anything because I don't want to do something wrong. So being able to guide him and provide that support for him and to show him that you need that support from him as well will make it easier and kind of open up the door for that better communication of how you can, you know, be validated with how you feel about the grief you're experiencing.
I completely agree with that because most of the time, if you just let a brother know, that's that simple. Just tell us what you're expecting and what you want us to do, you know, in a calm way. If he's your husband, he's going to do it, and he's going to remember how you wanted it done. You know, I was dating a girl who liked ice cream in the microwave because she liked it soupy. She told me one time. And then I knew, okay, she like ice cream this particular way. So when she be like, you know, want some ice cream, I already know exactly how she likes it because she told me one time. But if she wouldn't have told me the one time, she just was like, I want some ice cream, then pouted because it wasn't the way she wanted, how was I supposed to know? So in a lot of situations, you do have to just tell a person. Now, if you have to find yourself telling them more than once the exact same procedure, you know, keep on telling them if you care enough. Just stick in there.
Well, I guess I didn't care enough because after 28 years, I walked away. And then I told him, I'm not angry. at you for not doing it, but it did something to my heart.
Mm.
You know, so and he still has never, you know, like I said, we just separated about a month ago, and I told him that was one of the issues in our marriage was that, you know, the day my daughter died, I never got the support from you that I felt you should have provided to me. And whenever I seem to have a moment when I break down and want to cry, I got the feeling from him as he was saying, "Oh, please get over it."
Mm.
That's the feeling I got from him. So I just feel like, yeah, I guess you do need to. I mean, you have to express and let a guy know, and a guy has to let you know. But I guess I just feel like
He should have been more
he should
compassionate.
have been more there for me than what he was.
I'm
Right.
curious, was this his daughter as well?
No, but he was with her ever since she was about 6 years old, and she died when she was 24.
Mm.
So it was just like his daughter.
Was he grieving? Did he show any kind of emotions with his grief? And were you able to then comfort him?
No, I haven't seen. He I can't tell you the whole story. But
Right, no, we understand. We understand.
Yeah, we are on the
I'm-
radio, so we don't
Yeah.
want you to get too detailed.
I'm just curious.
But he's just not. He did not. I mean, I can't even tell you a time I remember when he just came up and put his arms around me and hugged me and say, you know, I'm sorry, I'm hurting too, I miss her too, or anything like that. I just have never gotten that from him, and I just feel like when I would have my moments when it would hit me about she's gone and I would break down, I just feel like his actions would say, wow, get over it.
It sounds like he was grieving himself. It sounds like he didn't know how to express it, because as a guy sometimes, a lot of guys they don't know how to express those type of emotions without feeling less masculine. So, and it sounds like that's what it was. He was trying to hide his emotions behind his masculinity. And that's just for what it sounds like. Like you said, I don't know the entire story, but that's just what it sounds like.
And I would even say, because you gave a little bit of background, maybe from his own personal upbringing, that he just never really knew how to be affectionate. Because throughout that time, you said that, you know, you've never had an instance where he has really consoled you in that type of way. And maybe that was something that it could have had some discussion on, and I know you're no longer together at this point, but maybe that would have been helpful, maybe, you know, in the past, if you would have been able to talk to him about, you know, I really like to hold hands. I really like to hug. When I get sad, this is what I look for. There's actually a book called The 5 Love Languages that's developed by Dr. Gary Chapman, and it's a very valuable book because it talks about the ways that people provide love and look to receive love. And physical touch is one of those, and maybe that is your love language. And one of the most important things is for you to be able to share with your partner what your love language is, because sometimes what we are expecting and how we give love is not the same way that our partner gives love and what they're expecting. So to have that communication about those expectations, like J. Real was saying, is really crucial in order to have that success in your relationship.
Okay, well, thank you guys for listening.
Thank you for calling. We appreciate it.
Take care.
You too. Yeah, and you know, you offered us a potential Mr. King, something that may have been going on with him, but too, you know, a lot of ways, in some ways, a lot of men do grieve by being silent. That is their grief, you know. So rather than discuss the situation, they'll act, quote unquote, as if the situation doesn't exist,
Right.
and they just kind of move on, you
Right,
know.
there are lots
And
of ways.
then because that's the way they grieve, they expect you to do the same. Just move on, you know.
Right.
If she's not coming back, you know, blah 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 blah. And so that is something that happens as well. And how do you deal with that? You find, Miss Monica?
Oh, we have a
We have a caller.
I'm sorry,
How you
I'll
doing
answer
tonight,
right
Joseph?
I'm doing pretty good.
What's your comment tonight?
Yeah, what is your topic?
Improving our communication skills is the topic.
Pardon me?
Improving our communication skills.
Oh, okay. You know, what I have to say is that some of our men these days, we need to understand our mate more. Yes, and to understand them more. I mean, by communicating with them, know what they like and what they don't like.
How do you do that, though?
By talking and asking questions.
Okay.
All right.
Are you married yourself?
Yes, sir. I just celebrate my 3 years of marriage on Valentine's Day.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Oh,
Congratulations.
Congrats to you.
Yes, and I take her out, and we men now we need to be more gentle and more romantic.
Right. I definitely agree.
And because women don't even ask so much, just little things. Rubbing their feet at night, and give them a back rub, and make them feel special.
I completely agree.
I agree.
I absolutely agree.
Thank you for your call, Joseph.
Thank you, Joseph.
Yes.
Being in a relationship, it takes work, and a lot of people I know, at least in these younger generations, they, hey, Jimmy Shine, give me just a second. I know that, they expect, we're in this instantaneous, society, and they're expecting for things to just be, I'm supposed to get married, I'll spend this $20,000 in a wedding, and we'll go in this house, and things are just going to be great. They're going to be just like when we were dating, and that's not necessarily the case. A relationship has to be nurtured, and like Joseph was saying, you have to attend to the needs of your partner, and they need to do the same thing. It's about reciprocity. It's not one person doing everything for that person and not getting anything back. So you need to be sure that you're sharing what you need, they're sharing what they need, and you guys are working as a team together in order to have a successful, long-lasting relationship.
All right. Yeah, what's up, Jimmy Shine? How you doing tonight?
Hello, Jay Real and the Real Talk crew. The Real Talk family crew. Well, it's been a couple of weeks, guys.
It has been a couple of weeks. What's going on?
So much stuff is going down, I don't even know where to start. But let me try to start with a little something off topic.
Wait a minute.
I was upset.
Wait.
I was upset to see Jay-Z and Kanye West win a Grammy
Very upset.
for a song that I hate.
Very upset.
I mean, and the song is so racially controversial.
That's the only reason it won.
They can't even say it on the air.
You got to blank it out. You see the first letter. That's it.
So the next time I go to the family reunion, I'm going to ask Grandma and Granddaddy to turn their back as I play Niggas in Paris. Because, see, back in my day, and I know y'all ain't as old as I am, but back in my day, we listened to Earth, Wind, and Fire. That's the way of the world. Al Green, Let's Stay Together. I can't even play half the stuff these kids listen to nowadays.
What you think about the situation in California?
Hold on, Jimmy Shine. Have you been listening to the show tonight?
Yes, I have. Yes,
Did
I
you?
hate relationships.
Let's
Okay,
communicate,
but
Jimmy Shine. Let's
and I'm
communicate.
communicating with you because you are our longtime listener, and I truly appreciate you. We all do.
Yeah.
But we had a flow going on here.
I understand.
And you're
I'm
kind
not trying to
of.
break that, and I'm not trying to break that at all.
But you
I've been married
did.
I've been married for 20 years to the same woman. Feel my pain.
Okay. Well, see, that's what we need you to talk about.
I feel your pain,
But
Jimmy.
if that's what we need that. We need to stay within what we're talking
Jimmy,
about.
Joseph said that you need to take her out, Jimmy, and you need her to be. You need to rub her feet and rub her back. That's what Joseph just said.
And validate her feelings like the other
Jimmy,
caller.
what you need to do is take her to one of the movements, Jimmy. You have to You have to bring her to your world and open her eyes to what you see, so that y'all can do it together.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I'm saying. Once we're a truth type, brutal truth type people, she has to be one also, so that y'all can go to the meetings and everything together. So she can research this and teach you something, just like you can teach her something.
Indeed. Well,
I appreciate you, my brother.
Nice.
But
that's really nice.
I appreciate you.
I want to.
Not today.
I want to ask you one question, though, Jimmy.
Yeah.
So So I want to get this straight between me and you. So the brother burned up, but his wallet was not burned up. How you feel about that?
Oh my
All
goodness, did you hear that?
Did you hear about that, Jimmy?
Can we table that?
I'm sorry. I just want.
No, because you know what? When that happened, real quick, I wanted to know what Jimmy Shine wanted to
Oh
what
my
he had
God.
to say about that.
I wanted to
but
ask you.
next month,
Okay.
we have a schedule,
Okay.
and we were in a zone. We were flowing here.
We
Miss
were flowing in the
Monica.
love zone.
I'm
Miss
sorry about
Monica
that.
was doing what she was doing for this show,
I'm sorry.
and
about
we
that.
have gotten off track. So
My
I'm
bad.
sorry, Jimmy Shine.
Jimmy just does
We
that.
have to table that type of discussion.
Jimmy does
We
that
love
to
you,
me.
Miss Monica.
Until
My bad.
March.
love you,
Am I
Miss
the only one?
I
Am I'm
appreciate you,
sorry.
Jimmy Shine. No offense taken.
Okay. But I do want to know what you had to say about that. But can we talk about it in March?
Indeed, we will do that.
Okay. Thank you, Jimmy Shine. I
Thank
appreciate you.
We appreciate you
Thank
calling
you,
Jimmy
Jimmy
Shine. You got the ladies, man.
They done
We love
jumped
the
them.
ladies.
They had done jumped them. I had your back, no Jimmy. I had your back. I ain't gonna let you do that. They ain't, if I'm gonna throw you a
callers,
lifeline.
McCray was in the zone. She
I
was
see
like,
that.
We're listening to what Monica has to say. We've
Well,
had callers
but-
call in.
All right, so let's get back to it.
Let's get back to it.
But if a caller want to call,
1680
No.
We have to take that call.
894
No.
Jimmy Shine is a very interesting man. I like to
He
take.
is.
I want
Very
to.
interesting.
He talked
called-
about the subject.
Go ahead, Monica.
He said he been going through pain and torture for 20 years.
Go ahead, Monica. What's next?
We praying for that, brother. We praying for you, Jimmy. 20 years, we are praying, brother.
We are.
I'll
next?
piggyback on something
Okay.
you were saying before we took the call. You know, one of the things young couples don't realize, because I think one of the things young couples don't do is they don't have those honest conversations with each other. They don't have that, you know, what do you expect, and this is how I grew up and seeing in the marriage that I grew up seeing, or I didn't grow up seeing anybody's marriage, so I have no idea what a marriage is.
Exactly.
They don't have those types of conversations, and so they do run into problems because we do live in the fantasy of, you know, the latest romantic comedy, if you will. And whatever beautifulness happened as got married, and then right away they moved into the most beautifulest house that they could ever imagine. The most beautifulest, yes.
Oh, okay. I was gonna get you.
And then
Beautifulest thing. Beautifulest house.
Beautifulest thing.
and then when that doesn't happen, you know, it's like, whoa, a minute, you know, this is
Reality
not,
strikes.
this is not, you know, and I think one thing people, especially when you're talking about a marriage, which is, you know, supposed to last forever, you know, a marriage is a job, you know, or work, if you will.
It is work.
You know what I mean? A marriage is harder than the job you may work during the day, the 9 to 5, if you will. And that's just one thing I think people lose sight of. And one of the reasons why you have such a high divorce rate, because people, you know, they're great when it's love and everything is beautiful, but then when it gets rough, it's like, whoa, it wasn't supposed to be rough.
Right.
This is love. Love ain't rough.
In fact, when you look at even in the Florida statistics, and most of them mirror each other, there's 2 peaks in the divorce rate of the period of time that couples have been married before they get divorced. You get the 1 to 7 years, and then it skips a great portion of time and then starts over again around the 18 to 20 years. So what's happening is couples, you know, you get your newlyweds that are saying, no, this is a little too much for me. I didn't prepare for this, and they didn't go to premarital counseling. Please go to premarital counseling. And now they've gotten into some situations where they just don't know how to handle it, and they're not getting support, like going to a marriage counselor to get that help that they need, maybe listening to the wrong people, giving them bad advice instead of a professional. So then they eventually get divorced, okay? Then you have the ones that are saying, okay, this is rough, but we're going to wait till after the kids, you know, get old enough and go to college, then we're going to get divorced. Or you have the couples that spend the majority of the time not taking care of their relationship and taking care of their kids and their job and everything else around them, that by the time that their kids have graduated and are no longer in the home and they're empty nesters, they don't know who they're laying next to. And that person has become a roommate instead of their husband or wife. So that's why you see that peak. And I think that if we, like we've been talking about, you know, a lot, nurturing your relationship, continuing to have that communication throughout your relationship, spending that undivided attention, you know, spending time with your partner every night. I know it gets very difficult, and, you know, you have a lot of things going on, but you have to spend that time. You have to go on date nights, like Joseph was saying. You have to spend that time with each other to kindle and rekindle your marital relationship, because even though you're a husband and a wife or a parent or a mother or father, what have you, you're still a husband and a wife, and you still are together. And so you want to continue that, and people don't realize it takes effort to do that. You have to be committed to your relationship and not just committed to getting married. So.
I really think that the way society brainwashes a lot of people that you have to get married after a certain time. Like, everybody's not to get married. Right. It's a lot of people who, you're good in a relationship, but everybody is not to get married. I think that society kind of, in my opinion, kind of brainwashes women. This knight in shining armor is going to come and sweep them off their feet, saying these sweet nothings in their ear, and then they're going to live happily ever after. And then once they find out that, hold on, like Brother Real said, they hit reality, and it's like, this is not what I thought it was going to be type thing. You actually have to work at this. I really feel that you don't actually know a person in a relationship until they get upset with you, because that's when you start seeing the real them. It was happy-go-lucky until y'all got pissed off at each other, and now you start seeing, how crazy they really are, or how they can't control their emotions, or how they're unforgiving. So, I really think that counseling is really the best thing for people. I think, it should be a class in COS school, a relationship class, to be honest with you.
Oh, no, I absolutely agree. In fact, when I was a teacher, I taught a relationship class. I had the opportunity to be able to develop my own curriculum, and I came across, because I taught in high school, kids that were in relationships, and a few of them that, had children on the way, and, were 15 and 16 years old. And so I said, okay, no, this has got to stop. We need to start developing a generation of people that know how to properly be in a relationship. Right. And because of that pressure of, I have to, I have this biological clock, and, every time I go on a family reunion, people are asking me, when am I getting married? And all this pressure around, that particular person, they just say, okay, we get along, let's just get married. And it may not be the person for you. And they may have secrets. We all have things that we're keeping back until we get real relaxed. And then, oh, you do this. In fact, I had a couple where the wife was, a neat freak. And she just really, was very, very tidy. And she married a guy that she didn't find out that he walked around the house brushing his teeth until the wedding night. And he's walking around brushing his teeth, dropping toothpaste on the floor, and she is having a fit. She's like, I married a monster. What is this?
What's wrong with toothpaste on the floor?
Yeah. So
I guess so.
To each his own. But and they never discussed it. They never knew. And so you really don't know a person until you're living with them. And even some people say, well, let's just get, live with each other and then, we have an idea. Exactly. But that's not even, there's something about that permanency that makes a difference. Because there's even research with cohabiting couples actually having a higher divorce rate than couples that have never lived together. So it's just, you're not going to know until you talk about what you need to talk about. And that's one reason why I have premarital seminars. I actually have one coming up March 31st.
When?
March 31st.
Where is that?
So you can go to my website, covenantcounselor.com.
Spell it for me.
COVENANT. COUNSELOR.
CovenantCounselor.com.
CovenantCounselor.com. Or you can Google Monica Clayton and Covenant Counseling Center, and you should find it as well.
I have a question for you before we get out of here. 407-894-1680 is the number. So going back to something he brought up, conflict. So for couples, what's or anybody in any type of relationship, what's the best way to communicate when you are upset with that other person?
First thing you have to do is you don't want to try to resolve the problem while you're in the heat of anger. It never is constructive. So you want to take some time to, make a meeting for the discussion. So reschedule a time that you can actually talk about it where your emotions are down, because when your emotions are up, your rationality goes out the window. Yes. So you want to wait until, both of you are, we're having a lot of excitement going on in the studio, y'all. But
This topic is so exciting.
But you want to find a time
Mr. King
when
is
both of you have
bothering me.
had the opportunity to think about, what you would like to say and be more rational, less emotional, and then discuss it. And take your time discussing it. You want to use proper speaking skills and listening skills. Be tactful, be direct, be specific, be honest, and really talk about those things in the best way. You want it to be well received, so you don't want to, say things that are,
Gotta leave the name calling out.
Right,
Is that right?
leave the name calling out. Don't try to, I call them the dirty fightings.
The dog in them.
You
ain't no man. Don't be saying, definitely don't. You ain't no man.
And I actually have a list of, and I'll go down the list. No bullying, no threatening, no manipulating, no exaggerating, no sarcasm. That's when a lot of people get. No ignoring, no silent treatment. Just treat them the way that you would want to be treated. Slow things down. Use small statements. I feel this way when this happens because, and just kind of retrain yourself how to talk about a particular issue. Because if you just go off the hinges like, you just always lazy and I'm always picking up all this trash off the floor, you need to get a job. Okay, nobody wants to really hear that. No, it's going in one ear, out the other. But if you say, I really need your support because I'm feeling overwhelmed, is there any way you can help me when you come home? Then that's a lot easier to understand versus, you just lazy and, just broke and I can't stand you. No one, that's not going to be well received. So we got to learn how to talk to each other.
Well, which one is more probable to come out her mouth?
That's where you have to retrain yourself how to communicate.
It's a process, right?
Right, it is a process.
There's
because
a
we've
lot of
learned,
women out there that don't want to take that process.
Well, then they need to come to the Covenant Counseling Center.
There you go.
Monica Clayton.
And what's the
There you
website?
The website is covenantcounselor.com, 321-872-7720. So send them to me. And I like working with couples as well. I think there's always two sides to a story. So you learn a lot when you hear both people tell the story.
We looking to hear from Jimmy Shine.
Yes.
Going to the
Jimmy,
website,
I'm
Jimmy.
looking forward to seeing you.
Yes.
At Pembroke Commons.
Joseph, you can come too,
headquarters.
Joseph, and keep it good. It's been
Yes,
3 years.
Maintaining is
Gotta
good.
maintain.
It really is. I agree. Thank you, Micah.
Mr. King, thank you.
Mr. King, excuse me.
Thank you very much.
King.
Thank you.
But
I mean, communication definitely is key. You want to lay it out there, like you said. If you have these conversations, and if it's not received well, and you have that conversation again, and then after a while you continue to have those issues, it might be time to move on.
It could, and you can even, discuss it and confront it that, we talked about how I would like to go out. Or let's use the perfect example. When I go out, she's always late. Okay. So we've discussed, and I sat down and I shared with her in a way that she can understand without telling her that she's tripping and always late and I'm tired of this. I actually said it in a way that she would receive it. And she still is late. You can say we talked about being, on time because and how it feels to you. I appreciate it and I feel respected when you're on time and you're still late. What kind of compromise can we come to in order for this not to happen? Because this is how it makes me feel. It makes me feel disrespected when you're always late and I'm showing up and I'm ready to take you out.
But a lot of men don't want to do that. We feel like that's complaining, and men don't complain.
But
Sure you do.
something can't ever get addressed
Not
unless
about that.
you share how you feel about the situation.
Right.
I mean, me personally, most men don't complain from what I know. A lot of women say I ain't never had no complaints, and that's because men don't complain.
Okay.
But if you don't, it's not complaining, it's discussing. Now, complaining is, you always late. I'm so tired.
So it depends on
You
how
make
I
me
say
sick.
it. That makes
Yes.
it okay. So if I say it in a
If
sweet
you're
way, it's disgusting.
It's disgusting. I mean, complaining is when you're constantly providing something, but you're never giving a solution. But if you say, okay, this is how I feel about this particular situation. Could I just give you a 30-minute heads up? I'm on my way, and you can be done and ready in 30 minutes. Will that work for you? Then you're providing her with the problem and the solution. Now, if she just doesn't want to hear it, I mean, it takes two. If you want to continue a relationship where she just refuses to be cooperative, that's your hint right there that if she's going to be uncooperative with being on time, how many other things is she going to be uncooperative with?
Correct.
Okay?
That is the right
but
way to look at it.
what people will do is, oh, you know, that's just that issue, you know, and then they get married and then she's still late and I'm still tired of it. You know, I've been dealing with this for years. But you have to look at all those things, right?
Don't have no kids. Then you really stuck.
So it really is just a manner of
stuck.
that communication, you know, and thinking about those things while you're dating. Now, if you're married and she's late, she always been late, you never discuss that, then, you know, you'll have to just find a solution.
All right. Well, real quick, we're running out of time here, Miss Monica. One more time. Get your information out there, please.
Okay. Covenant Counseling Center. You can find me at www.covenantcounselor.com, or you can give me a call at 321-872-7720. Also, I'm having a Prepare Enrich training for those that have marriage ministries and would like to try a new curriculum for their couples. It's an excellent program that's also on the website, Prepare Enrich, and that is on March 9th. And the premarital counseling sessions seminar is March 31st.
All right. We appreciate you, Miss Monica. So,
Thank
you,
Monica.
all those that need some any kind of counseling, we do have one of the greatest counselors in the city.
That's right. Relationships are hard.
Miss Monica. Yeah. So please shout her out. We appreciate you guys for listening. Tune in next week, 9 p.m. This is your host, Jay Real, signing off. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and check out the website, RealFamilyTalk.weebly.com. This is WOKB 1680 AM, your urban empowerment and inspiration station. Woohoo! It's on Twitter, Real Family Talk, the website, RealFamilyTalk.weebly.com.
WOKB, Winter Garden, Orlando.